Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, you guessed it. Today, we are going to finally take our money from the big banks. Kind of. Now, obviously, this video is going to show you why I decided to move some of my business accounts from my big bank that I work with to a smaller credit union. Now, some people are going to be like, this is a big mistake. Some people are going to be like, oh, what if your money's secure? I'm going to go over all that in this video. But guys, listen. So, have you ever wanted to get a credit card? What would you do? You go to the bank, you apply for a credit card, and if your application is good, if your credit's good, if you're making good income, you're going to get the credit card. That's awesome. But do you know how it works for a business? Not a lot of people do. So, think about a business like this. A business like an LLC is supposed to be a separate entity that gets its credit check. And most places in the USA do that, where they are able to now do credit checks on your business to make sure you're paying your loans, to see your cash flow, and they can make their decision based on that, which makes sense. However, guess what? Here in Canada, it's a lot different. Here in Canada, you need a personal guarantee, which means let's just say you have a huge business and your business is making $10 million a year. I would consider that a pretty big business, but your business makes $10 million a year. And guess what happens? All of a sudden, you need to get some sort of loan for, like, let's just say $100,000. If you go to the bank and say, hey, bank, I need a $100,000 loan on my business. It's been operating for 10 years. Look at it. Great credit. It's paid back all its creditors. What can you do for me? Do you know what they're going to tell you? You have to guarantee it, which means, wait a second. You're judging the base of my loan, not on myself, but on the worthiness of my business to make the money and to pay it back with interest. But then why are you going after me and going to have to check? Obviously, getting a credit check is not the end of the world, but I would prefer to have all of this on my business, because that's the whole reason you make a corporation, have a separate entity than yourself. But the banks don't see it this way. Here in Canada, a lot of the banks want a personal guarantee because it more likely secures them their investment in case of a downfall. Think of it, they want to help you on the way up, and they want to make money from you on the way up, but when you're going down, they ain't gonna help you, and they still want to take their money. So guys, that kind of idea doesn't make sense to me. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times where I do think this is very important, especially when you're starting off a business. If you have no experience, if you have no business skills, and you're going to start a business, there's a high likelihood that you're going to fail. The literal opportunity of an entrepreneur is to continue to try until you make something work. And obviously that's difficult. It's not the easiest thing in the entire world. But now, the banks all don't want it for 1 year, 2 year. And this business in particular that I'm referring to made almost $500,000 last year. Now, that's not net, that's gross. So it still made a very decent amount of profit. However, obviously, we're trying to grow this business. So there was a very good sign up bonus on a new business credit card. And you know your boy Rav loves his credit cards. So what does he do? He goes to the bank, he calls his chauffeur, and I call him my chauffeur, but he's a really good buddy of mine. But because I have a lot of assets with this particular bank, this big bank here in Canada, they usually give me a lot of stuff for free. They usually give me great options when it comes to the personal side. However, I went in and inquired about my business, and I found out something terrifying. I realized that if I wanted to borrow any money, even get a new credit card just for the points, even though my business produces more than enough cash flow to take care of any debt I may receive on the business, they still need my personal guarantee. Now, you may not think that's a big deal, and most of the time it's not. But I want you to think of it this way. For myself, I have a bunch of properties that are under my name. I have a couple of properties that are under a different name, but I'm getting paid from various sources, and those sources are all different entities of businesses that I've created. Now, when somebody does a credit check on me, and especially when you do a credit check on a business, they have to verify the mortgages, they have to verify the cash flow, they have to verify the tenancy, and sometimes they also want to have an inspection done of each property, right? To check out the actual value. Understood. However, when you have 5 to 11 properties, it makes it very long and very difficult and also expensive. Just think about the inspection costs. It's about $500 for the rent analysis plus the actual inspection. So if you have 10 properties, that's $5,000. And trust me, I've been there every time I want to get a mortgage into my personal name. So that's why you create a separate entity so that you don't have to consistently look at all of your assets. Now, I hope that all made sense. But this bank now wants me, although guess what, like a year ago they've already evaluated my assets, but now they want to do it all over again, which means I have to pay for it again. Not something I'm going to do. So I was talking to Grok and I was like, yo Grok, what the hell, like why is this so different than the USA? What's the point of creating an LLC if everything can still be led back to me? And do you know what Grok told me? Join the credit union. And that's exactly what I did. I'm particularly talking about Service Credit Union. I had a great conversation with one of their reps, and I have found out that yes, if you have a business that's good lasting, that has a great relationship with them, They do not need personal guarantees, how it should be. If you are judging the credit worthiness of my business, I should not be involved. It should be based on the business unless I am funding the business consistently. But if your business is making money, I don't see any reason why your personal assets should be allowed guaranteed on this business. The whole purpose of a business is to have the option to grow and fail, to grow the economy. You can't just stick with me during the times of easiness and during the hardship you leave. That's not how it works, right? We both have risks in the business and we both have risks outside. And, I appreciate a bank who's willing to do that. So I'm going to move this particular business to a credit union to build my relationship there and to see exactly how it works. Just because one day I do want to get to the point where I have a $10 million business, $100 million business, $200, $1 billion business. And at that time, the last thing I want anybody to ask me is, hey, let me check your credit. Doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, guys, hope all of that made sense. And guys, if you are truly thinking about opening a business, I really highly recommend join a credit union. The one thing I will just say, whether it's big banks, small banks, credit unions, the better your relationship with any of them, the better rewards, the better effectiveness of your business is going to be, because people help people. And businesses that know you, businesses that work with you are going to be much more likely to help. For example, I'll just tell you one more example. Usually you get one credit card. You don't want to apply for a second credit card because a lot of time lenders are going to be like, a little fishy that he's applying for another credit card. But when you get very good when you get very personal with any sort of bank, they will more than happy lend to you and on your personal side because they have a relationship with you. So building these long-lasting relationships are very important. All right. Although the big bank has lost my business for this particular business, they've helped me in numerous other ways that I will consistently keep forward.